I don't believe that Lacey died at the hands of Scott Peterson directly, and I'm not entirely convinced he is guilty of being involved in her death at all. Though I'm also not convinced of his innocence. Either way, I do not believe they, the prosecution, put on a strong enough case to convict, and there was some seriously dodgy and corrupt police work in this investigation. Maura Murray, and many other people who vanished into the wilderness, did not meet their end due to foul play. They just wandered into the woods for some reason and died from either exposure or an animal. The fact that they haven't been found yet is not difficult to imagine. People have died 10 feet away from trails and aren't found for a long time simply because of the nature of the forest. It could be that she was disoriented, had a mental break or any other reason, and just went into the woods. Regardless, I don't believe anyone else was responsible for her disappearance other than herself. Elisa Lam's case, it isn't about the hotel and ghosts and serial killers, it is about a woman struggling with mental health issues. It's high time we look into the case with her mental health history in mind rather than all the structureless conjectures. The Menendez brothers were not abused. They are just a pair of spoiled assholes who never got a real consequence in their lives, and they murdered their parents for money and because they thought because they got away with so much shit in the past they could get away with this too. JonBenet Ramsey, give up the Burke did it crap. It's so damn unlikely a 9-year-old could figure out a garrote all on their own. It's also unlikely for a 9-year-old to actually have the malice and forethought or impulse for any such an assault. Stop reaching. Yes, he did poorly in an interview. You try being neurodiverse in a world that doesn't understand you and doesn't care to. He's clearly got some atypical stuff going on neurologically, but that doesn't make him a murderer. People spouting this nonsense are no better than the tabloids at the grocery checkout when she was murdered. Might as well say Bat Boy did it. I think Carla Hamulka was a victim of Paul to an extent. She was very young when she got involved with him while he was much older, and he groomed her into committing his crimes with her. That doesn't mean she isn't responsible for her actions, but I think that if it wasn't her, he would have found a different girl to manipulate and commit his crimes with. As far as I've seen, she hasn't reoffended, while I think Paul is a very dangerous person and should never be released. What happened to Kendrick Johnson was a horrible accident and not foul play. I'm such a believer in this too. This case makes me so angry because there's so much false information spread about it, so everyone that tries to argue uses incorrect facts that are completely false and incorrect. A horrible tragic accident that got blown up by the media, and the family was used as a trophy victim family in the eyes of the media and were promised things that were impossible to deliver on, and now that the case has been fully investigated they came to the conclusion no harm no foul. The family doesn't wanna hear it. Rusty Yates should be in prison. That bastard kept knocking Andrea up even though she told him she was overwhelmed. What did he think was going to happen? And he's remarried and has more kids. Pisses me off he got off with no sanctions, he didn't give two shits about her or those kids. You cannot tell that a person is guilty or evil just by their body language or by the look in their eyes. I have social anxiety and I struggle with showing my emotions in public, so I would definitely be described as unemotional and weird. God forbid if my spouse/child ever went missing, thanks to body language experts, I would be considered 100% guilty. I don't think Quentin Tellis murdered Jessica Chambers. I think he knows who did, and I realize he's no angel. My gut tells me the witnesses who testified Jessica replied Eric or Derek when asked who did this to you along with telling them her name, cannot all be mishearing what she said.